Oh boy. Hello there, everybody. This is CwapTheNintendin here, and welcome to another edition of Platinum Impressions. I might as well get into it. Xenoblade Chronicles for the Nintendo Wii. I know I'm going to be talking about this game for over half an hour, so I might as well just go into that. But of course, I might as well just give you a little bit of a history as to how this game came to be this game. Yeah. So, it was released in Japan, right? In 2000, back in the realm of 2010, which Smash Brothers, according to Smash Brothers, is politically correct. And it got localized, but it only got localized into Europe, strangely. That's why all the actors in the game are British. Yeah, not the actors, the characters have British accents, yeah. And for whatever reason, Nintendo had no plans to bring this game over to America, and we're just all like, what? So apparently there was this movement called Operation Rainfall where it was a thing to get 3 games localized. This one, Pandora's Tower, and Last Story. And needless to say, the effort worked, and here we are. In 2012, it got released, and it was critically acclaimed as the best JRPG of this generation. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't one of those people. If I was not one of those people. Yes, I would be lying if I said this was not the best JRPG of this generation. But more on that later. Now, for plot reasons, I am not going to spoil anything about this plot because this plot is just too good to be spoiled. But I'll just basically give you the skinny here, according to the game. And, of course, my thing has to go out. This is going to be a major thing that's going to happen, isn't it? Anyway, so the story goes that these 2 titans have been locked in an endless battle for centuries. One called the Bionis, and one called the Mechonis. They eventually died out and sprang new life. Mechonis had synthetic life and killer robots. The other, Bionis, had life on it. Actual life, like animals, plants, whatever. And in that story lies our hero, Shulk, who is researching this thing called the Monado, which is, by the way, the coolest sword ever. Like, seriously? Because it's the only sword that can damage these robots called Mechon, which have been eating people up, basically. Yeah, eating people. And of course, when tragedy strikes on his home Colony 9, he and his best friend Ryan set out to find some Mechon to destroy, and that's about it. That's basically the whole skinny of this plot. Yeah. But of course, of course they meet new friends along the way, of course. Like, they get joined up by their old friend Dumban at some point, who was the previous wielder of the Monado, the sword. But the body couldn't take it, which is why he only uses, like, his left arm or something. So there's Charlotte the healer, Melia the mage, and of course Ricky, who is the cute little Napon thing, who is my favorite character in the game. Basically, the Napon are like Moogles from Final Fantasy, except they're better. The Napon. But what I really like about this game's plot and, like, characters is that the plot, like, has some sort of twists and turns along the way. Like, the way the story is, like, paced out, like, even though it's, like, a 70-plus hour game, it's great. I actually do like the pacing of this game. Like, like, any old JRPG nowadays, it starts slow and stuff. But from here, it just builds and builds and builds until whatever the heck comes next. Computer, will you stop doing that? God. My apologies. My computer keeps on going into sleep mode, so I have to constantly move around my mouse. Well, I'm in power saver mode, so yeah. What I like about this plot is that it's really well paced out, and each major event that plays, like when Shulk and crew eventually get to the top of the Bionis to face off against the Mechon with the face that they're doing, just, oh my god, that thing was just awesome. That moment right there, when they get to the Bionis head, and by extension, Prison Island. That thing, that whole sequence was really, really cool. I really liked it, and this made me think, could this be a possible candidate for the best game I've ever played? Well, I was having that sort of mindset, but I didn't know for sure until I got to the end, so I chugged through it, and it took me like, I don't know, I got it back in like July, I think? I think I got it back in July. And it took me like 3 months to complete it, but I did it. And here I am talking about it. But yeah, the plot is really well paced despite being such a very long game. And the characters too, they actually do grow, like sort of like, you know, Final Fantasy IV. Well, probably not to the level of Final Fantasy IV, but by comparison, I would have to say like Final Fantasy VI. Because like Shulk, whenever he gets visions from the Monado, like when someone is in trouble or whatever, he doesn't just immediately like spurt out what he saw at the beginning of the thing. Like when Shulk and Ryan set off to hunt down Metalface, that's the Mechon that did the thing. Like Shulk has this vision of Ryan getting killed by a giant spider at Tephra Cave, and like he didn't even bother telling Ryan about it, like immediately, because he was still trying to figure out what the heck was going on. Plus, there was no secret that Shulk was pretty shy, so yeah, that's probably the reason. But as you know, the game went on, he started to get more and more like not shy about the visions and just immediately like spurted out like what the heck he just saw. And one little really like just non-reasonable nitpick I might add is like, come on, spurt it. Like when characters are in the area other than Shulk, they're like, well, spurt it out, what did you see? I was like, what? He was about to tell you, you dingus, but whatever. But yeah, I actually do like these characters. Like, the characters do grow as the journey goes on. And in particular, my favorite character has to be Ricky, because he is greatest Heropon! And he is the greatest Heropon because the chief of the Napon kicked him out. But seriously though, like the Napon are just these cute little yellow things, and I really want a plushie of that. Like, seriously. They should sell like Napon plush merchandise. I would get a Ricky plushie in a heartbeat. Like, not only is he funny, but I'm not gonna exactly spoil it, but Ricky does have some pretty awesome moments, I'll just say. Ricky does get a lot of, you know, awesome moments in thing. Well, two in particular I'm thinking of, but that's not until like 40 million hours into the game. No, actually, it's just like the second half of the game. Yeah, it's just the second half. I'm trying to think, like, what other characters grow? Like, well, Melia, for instance, yeah. I was going to talk about her. Like, it's pretty much the last character example, but yeah. Melia is a princess, of course. Not used to friendship and all that. But, of course, that all changed when the Shulk Nation attacked. And, yeah, she started to open up more to, like, Shulk and his crew. And eventually, yeah, she does join in the quest, obviously. Why do you think I'm talking about Melia? Like, she's some NPC or something? No, she ain't. She's a playable character. And she's like the most broken thing if you know how to use Melia right, but whatever. So yeah, case in point. Characters, I really like all the characters. They are neat. Especially Metalface, because oh my god, Metalface is so... I don't know why, but Metalface is just like the coolest thing in that game. He's like my favorite character. Well, my favorite bad guy in the game, because he has this voice, because I don't know if it's like my affinity for British actors or British accents or not, but Tim Watson as Metalface is just so great, because he's all like, fancy meeting you here. I love that in the trailer, but yeah, he like taunts Shulk. He's like, spoiler alert, get out of there. Oh my god. Like I can't get enough of his voice. Like, it's so great. It's so brilliant. I love it. And if my mic just peaked, I'm apologizing. But yeah. But one last thing I should mention, because the Monado, like, weekend Dunban, Like, he only uses his left arm. I think he's, like, right-handed or something, according to some people. Like, I looked up in some comments, like, there was this one thing during this cutscene where Dumb Ben was fighting somebody. I'm not going to exactly spoil who it is, but since he lost the use of his right arm, he uses his left arm, and he's basically left-handed now. He, like, does all the sword clashing and all the punching with his left hand, and he is just the greatest thing. He even, like, one really cool detail also is that when you play as Dumb Ben and you climb up a wall, Dumb Ben only uses his one hand to climb. That is such a cool little detail, and there's actually a lot of really cool details that I will get into as I go into the presentation of the game, because I have my notepad on here right now. But yeah, the characters are really great. Anyway, presentation. Best Wii-looking game ever made. The textures are really blurry and they look really awkward, and the character models do look last gen, but who cares? I really love the setting that they go here. Like, it's such a unique setting. Like, this entire world just being like two lifeless corpses of giants. And all these, like, and all this life just sprang up from the two giants. And yeah, you do actually get to go to the Mechonis too. And it's such a gigantic world. Like, seriously, like, I think like the moment where the game really starts getting good is when you go to Gower Plain on the Bionis Lake. Like, that moment alone just made me like, oh my god, that thing is so big. And yeah, I'll get into more why I said oh my god, because the gameplay is really good, but more on that later. But yeah, I just love the artistic direction that they go for in this game. Like, there are some really cool looking areas, like Sotoro Marsh at night on the Bionis Waste, I think it is. Like, that place at night is just so mysterious and blue. And I love all the ether part effects that they go on there, because ether is the basic like energy of the world. And as I mentioned before, Gower Plain is just so good looking on the Wii. Like, you wouldn't expect like the Wii to handle this stuff, but it does, and it's so great. Magna Forest on the Bionis back. When you're going across that bridge for the first time and you look around, you see this huge waterfall right there, and it looks so good. And it's all finally when you get to the head of the Bionis Arid Sea, where at night you actually do get to see like meteor showers, like at certain times, because it's just the best looking thing of all time. Well, on the Wii at least. And yes, we're talking about a Wii. The console that can't even do HD. It only has a max resolution of 480p. Yeah. And also, technically, on a technical level, it's really impressive because, like, they have all these huge areas. Like, I'll get into more of that in a bit. But they have all these huge areas, and the Wii can load them up in a matter of seconds. Like, seriously. When you're going around trying to explore the world, there are literally no loading times at all in between exploring. So you can just, like, explore to your heart's content without feeling the need to, like, you know, have the Wii stop and load up a thing. Think of it like what they did with, like, Wind Waker HD later on, when the Great Sea could be loaded, and that's why the King of Red Lions has a speed setting for the boat. But yeah. And speaking of presentation, the voice acting is actually really good. It really is good. Well, when you compare it to, like, the Japanese voice actors, because you can switch between English and Japanese. Like, I've seen a few Japanese cutscenes on YouTube, and compared to that, like, Shulk's voice actor, English voice actor, Adam Howden, which, by the way, it is the same voice actor for Smash Brothers, it's just younger for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, Adam Howden actually does a really good job at Shulk. I love it. I love it. It's great. They are, like, all the characters I feel are really well acted. Well, except for Melia at some points, because she sounds like she's reading her lines every once in a while. Like, I can think of one example, like, when you get to the head of the Bionis, there's a city you go to called Alchemath, and, like, when she's visiting the throne room where her dad is and her brother is, like, when her brother, like, Callian goes to her, she's like, she says brother, but she says it in such a way where it's like, I read your lines. It's like, brother. I don't know why, but I think Melia is, like, the only one who still needs, like, voice acting tips. But other than that, like, the only one that I can do an impression of is Metalface and Ricky, because their voices are god. Their voices are great. I really love how they portray them as well. And of course, in Japan, Ricky sounds like a little kid, of course. Yeah. And he's like, I'm a little kid, instead of like, no, I am a little kid. But whatever. So anyway, yeah, I feel like the presentation in this game is, like, really good, and like the graphics are really great. The voice actors do like a really well job at it. Do really well job, yeah. And yeah, they do decent job. Anyway, gameplay, the best parts. So, Xenoblade Chronicles and its sequel, Xenoblade Chronicles X, it's basically a game where you explore around the place. And it's a really massive open world type game. Like, when, like, you know you're going through the story of the game, right? The arrow in the sky tells you where to go. But you're not limited to just that arrow. You can literally go anywhere in this game so long as it's on the ground. And yes, I do mean everywhere. Like, I think Chugga Conroy pointed it out, like, excellently in his LP. If you can see it, you can go there. You can go there with the money, but whatever. But yeah, you can explore pretty much everywhere so long as it's on the ground. And like I said, there's literally no loading times in these huge areas. You're free to explore without having the need for loading times. Oh my god! And you know, the best part about it is that about exploring is that you get experience from discovering, like, new locations or landmarks to skip travel to. Because this game is, like, massively open world, it feels the need to skip travel to parts. Yeah, they have a skip travel system because this game is just too huge. And so long as it's not in, like, a different area, like say you want to go to a different landmark in Gaura Plain from Gaura Plain itself. Well, I go to my skip travel menu by pressing minus. I go to the place where I want to go on Gaura Plain. I select it. And then, bam, you're there. No loading. Like, seriously, no loading. It's only, like, if you choose to go into an area that's not, like, you know, the Bionis Leg or anything. Like, if you're gonna get to, if you're gonna skip travel to, Machna Forest from, Tephra Cave, you are gonna experience loading then, so yeah. But yeah, you actually do get experience from discovering new landmarks and new locations. And yeah, it's just a really great thing for eliminating the need to grind. Although sometimes this game does get grind happy, but yeah. Well, at least in my experience, if you're not going for every single quest in the game, which I should mention, by the way. Quests are, like, extremely streamlined in this game. You don't even know, like side quests in this game, there are, like, over 200 side quests for you to do. It's insane. Like, they're mostly, like, you know, the generic quests, like hunt a monster, find a thing, search for a thing. But here's the thing, though. Because this game is just too big, like Ridley, because this game is too big for its own kind, not that that's a bad thing, the quests are extremely streamlined. So, like, take, for example, like in Colony 9, you get a monster quest from it. You have to hunt X amount of beach crabbles. And you kill the crabbles, and bam, you're done. Yeah, you're just done. Like, if you have to find things, like finding item orbs when you're exploring on the ground, those little blue things, when you're going on a collection quest, like, you just get the item orbs that you need. Like, they're random, by the way. Yeah, they're random, but if you get enough things for the quest to be complete, then bam, you're done. you get your money and your experience if a quest awards you experience. It's only like the named quests, like looking for a lost son, Together Forever, what was it? Imagination's Tempered, like those kinds of quests that are named and that have multiple multiple objectives that you get money and experience and gems as well, which I will get into later. Like their extreme phone. So yeah, basically put, sorry about that. Basically put, like the quests are extremely streamlined. Like the named quests, like it's only the named quests. After talking to the quest giver, you go do the things and you go back to the quest giver to complete it. That's the only one. Those are like basically the only quests that have that traditional thing. But again, they are extremely streamlined, and it's very important that you get like every quest that you can, so you can get as much experience as you can, as well as exploring the world, like discovering like every single little thing, like secret areas, which are also landmarks for you to skip travel to, locations, just landmarks in general. Just do yourself a favor, just explore. You'll spend over a millennium just trying to complete your map, you know? But there's also the battle system, because the battle system is really good in this one. Like, seriously, like the best thing. It's the best thing. Okay, so basically put, you have your setup of 3 party members. Like, none of them have to be Shulk, by the way. You can play as any party member you want. And yeah, you can play as any party member you want. And it basically works like an MMORPG in which you target, there are enemies to fight around the world. Like, if you're too high leveled, the enemies won't challenge you to a fight should they either see you or hear you, because there are vision type enemies and the sound type enemies. And you can just target the enemy by pressing the L button, and then you can just go right into a fight with the enemy, and you can do auto attack and stuff. So each character has their own specific set of arts, like, and unique skills. Like Rein, for instance, Rein has like the one of the biggest HP, like second only to Ricky, by the way, because such a little creature has like 9,999 HP. But yeah, Rein is basically more for taking hits, because there's a thing called aggro in this game, which basically means like the more aggro you have, the more likely the enemies will attack you. So Rein is only good for like aggro stuff. So he can draw an aggro while you, say for example, as Shulk or anyone else can do really good damage to him. Another example is like Shulk is basically like frail but does a lot of damage because of his of the Monado he's got. Well, obviously he has like a different weapon at the start of the game. He doesn't have the Monado like all the time. But yeah, that's the thing. Charlotte, I should probably like when you go to the bonds, like you meet Charlotte, you know, the one with the big boobs, because every female party member has to have the boobs. Yeah. Like Charlotte is basically the healer of the group, so she's not that great in like physical strength, but her healing powers are amazing. Well, not compared to like Ricky though, because Ricky has like some of the best healing item or best healing power in the game. It's called "You Can Do It," and it's basically put, it heals not only Ricky but the other party members the breath touches, I should say. So yeah, Ricky also has like is also a jack of all trades. Melia is basically your broken black mage. Because let me tell you, like Melia is like the most broken thing, like if you know how to use her right. Because she has all these summon elementals, right? Like summon fire, basically. Summon earth. Okay, start with the ones I know. Summon earth, just basically like cast physical protect on you, and if you use that 3 times, along with summon copy, which copies the last summon elemental, like you could get some really good physical protects on that. And she also has this like really broken combo. It's called the Spear Break and Starlight Kick combo. Like you use Spear Break, and then it inflicts the enemy with slow, which means it'll basically go slower in auto attacking. and then you use Starlight Kick after using Spirit Break, and it will topple the enemy, which basically means it's stunned for a while. And yeah, I think the cooldown period for that is actually pretty short. Because again, it's like an MMO. You use your arts, as they call it, or special attacks. Use of arts, and it cools down for a bit. And there's a cooldown period. And yeah, Melia can pretty much be the most broken character in the game if you know how to use her right. And use her well. Yeah. And yeah, Dunban is pretty much the agility guy and strength guy and attacking guy. Because, well, here's the thing. Agility is like the most important stat in this game. Because that will determine how often you'll dodge physical attacks, how often you attack, and also, yeah, just that. So, you want to equip Dunban with the best gems. And speaking of which, gems. There are a ton of gems, like so much variety in like the gems. Like, not just the regular stat gems, by the way, but there's also gems like Quick Step, which allows you to move quicker, not only in battle, but also when you're not battling. There's also Tension Rising, which, by the way, tension is probably more important thing, because the more tension you have, the better you'll fight, by the way. Initial tension, there's buff time plus, attack plus, slow resist, paralysis resist, poison plus. So there's so much variety in the gems, and the way you get gems is by gem crafting, which is also really complex thing if you get all the party members into it. Like, one of them has to be the shooter, the other has to be the engineer. And I think the shooter is the first slot, and the engineer is the second slot. And each character has their own specific, like, gem crafting, like, skills or whatever. And you hear, like, the best voice acting in that. And when you get Shulkin Ryan in there, they do, like, this thing. They're like, I got it! Yeah, that's right! To you! To me! Like, seriously, those are, like, the voice clips, by the way. The voice clips. I should probably say that this game is more quotable than anything I've ever played in my life. Other than Kid Icarus Uprising, of course. Undoubtedly, like, Rhines is the most quotable ever, because he's got them classic lines. He's got them classic rhymes, like, now it's Rhine time, and oh yeah, Rhine time, baby. And he's like, and of course, there's the classic, wow, what a bunch of jokers. Which I applaud Smash Wii U for doing that, by the way, with the Kid Icarus characters. And of course, my thing is about to die. God, I can never seem to, like, escape problem after problem with things and interruptions. So I'm going to go ahead and get the thing, because my charger is being stupid. And of course, there are more classic quotable lines, of course. Well, of course, Ricky is, like, one of the best. Because, like, there are also character interactions based at certain times after defeating an enemy. Like, for example, when you have Shulk, Ryan, and Dunban in the party, like, they do this thing where it's like, oh yeah, I got him! Oh yeah, I got him! No problem! And then Dunban's like, remember boys, don't lose focus. Concentrate. And then they're both like, yes sir! Like, the character interactions after certain battles, like random battles, they are just too good. They are just too good. And of course, Ricky has, like, one of the best lines ever made. Like, I think it's, like, my favorite battle quote, because there are so many good battle quotes. Like, the voice actors did, like, a really good job just giving the characters so many battle quotes, which you can find on YouTube, by the way. One of Ricky's best is like, Ryan got the stupids. But I think the one that beats it out for me is, when you revive certain party members, because actually I forgot to mention, they also have this thing when you have 3 party members. It's called the party gauge, which basically indicates whether or not you have good affinity with the party members or good relationships or whatever. And you have, what was it? And if you have the party gauge filled up to 3 bars, you can use one of those bars to either, you can use the bars to, like, revive any sort of incapacitated party member. you can warn people when Chulk gets visions because stuff. I'll go into more of the visions later on, but yeah. When Ryan gets revived by Ricky, he says the best thing. Oh, Ryan! Pretending to be dead? Bad Ryan! I'll just let that sink in. Okay, so, yeah, like, the battle quotes are, like, the best thing in that game. Like, I understand that some people get annoyed by them, but I'm not. I'd rather hear the characters, I want to hear the characters, like, voice, like, have their little interactions. Like, that's such a really neat detail, and there's, like, so much detail into, like, just the little intricate things in the battle system, and not just battle quotes, but character interactions as well. That's just too great. That is too great. Especially, like, the side quest where it involves, like, multiple NPCs. Like, the lover side quest at the refugee camp and then eventually Colony 6. Where they do eventually have really great affinity. And here's the thing about affinity. Not only do the party members get affinity between each other, but there are also location affinity as well. Like Colony 9, for instance, Upper Bionis, Central Bionis, and so on. Yeah, those are all locations that have affinity as well. And affinity does actually play a part in, like, the party gauge or something. And how often you unleash your chain attacks, which you get when the party gauge is full. And that's not all. There are also for the NPCs that have names, there is affinity for every single thing. Every single named NPC. Damn. Yeah, you can check their relationship as well. Like, there's this one side quest, like, late in the game where you have to help out some kid with his parents arguing. And if you look in the affinity chart, it does say, like, they have red affinity, which is like the lowest affinity, I think. And it shows, like, arguing or something. And yeah, there's, like, so much detail. I can't. I just realized right now that I've been recording for 33.5 minutes and I'm still going. I don't care. I just want to talk to this game as much as possible. But yeah. Also, one final thing I should mention is the visions. Not only do they serve a purpose in the story, but they also serve a purpose in gameplay as well. Like, say you get an item that you randomly run into. Like, you go to the item orb, you pick it up, and then whoosh! You get a vision of what that item will eventually be needed for. Like a side quest or something. And that's not all. The item that you picked up will be marked in your inventory so that you'll never know never to trade it away or sell it. Yeah. Pretty much all the discrepancies of JRPGs are basically gone in this game. Like, everything is so convenient in this game that it's too great. But also visions play in part in battles as well. Like, say you get a vision of an enemy, like, fatally wounding, like, a party member or something. By using one of your gauges in the party thing, you can warn someone to change the future. To either destroy the enemy quicker or just dodge the attack. And then the whole vision theme plays. Like, yeah. So yeah, I think the gameplay is so deep and so detailed that it's... I can't stand it. The gameplay is just too great. Like, everything is so convenient and streamlined. So yeah, the gameplay... So that's 3 for 3 right there. The plot and characters are excellent. The presentation is really well done. The gameplay is super tight. But what about the soundtrack? What about the soundtrack? Do I think it's almost going to be one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time? Yes! Because, as you're probably hearing right now at some of the tracks, Xenoblade Chronicles has some of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. Not just like overworld themes like Gower Plain Day or Colony 9 Day, but there's also the battle themes too, like Mechanical Rhythm, which is the battle theme of the Mechanis. too rockin'. It's just too rockin'. Just saying. And yeah, most of you probably heard about it in Smash Brothers anyway. So yeah, Mechanical Rhythm is just too rockin'. It's like my favorite song in the game. Also, another notable track, You Will Know Our Names, is just so great. It's rockin'. Again, I jumped that. But that's not all. They also have really atmospheric pieces, like Colony 9, for instance, by Yoko Shinomura. Like, she really knows how to make atmospheric tracks. Then again, she did do the music for Mario and Luigi and Kingdom Hearts, so I'm not complaining. And Engage the Enemy, and there's a song that plays in certain cutscenes called Engage the Enemy or Confrontation with the Enemy. At first, I didn't really think too highly of the song. I just thought it was a cool song, but then I went back and listened to it more and more, and just it's one of my top Xenoblade songs now. Like, you really need to listen to the soundtrack for yourself in order to fully understand the soundtrack, because the soundtrack is so beautiful. It fits everything. It just fits everything. Like, Makana's Field is probably one of the more atmospheric tracks in the entire game, because I gotta love the synthetic stuff they put into it. The Makana's Capital is just, you don't expect, I'm not gonna spoil exactly what it sounds like. You have to listen to it for yourself. But let's just say it doesn't sound like anything that you would expect the Makana's Capital to be. Because you're in the capital of your enemy, you know? Just you don't expect it to hear it like that with the piano. Which the piano sounds great, by the way, in this one. And Alchemoth 2, Alchemoth Night just sounds like something you hear in a church. Just, oh my... The soundtrack. I get really immersed into a game by listening to the soundtrack, and this game is literally no exception. The soundtrack is just the best. It's just probably the best part about this game. Well, aside from the gameplay and everything else. Like, you're probably listening to some tracks from Xenoblade right now, because I'm planning to edit those in later. But, yeah. But if I were to call this game perfect, I would be lying to myself, because this game is not perfect by all means. I am going to address some criticisms I have of the game. Like, at certain points in the game, there are story quests. Like, for example, in order to get to Magna Forest from Satoru Marsh, you have to collect these things for a quote-unquote ancient ceremony, which basically leads up to you fighting a bird. Yeah. And one of the items you need to get is near a unique monster, which are basically like mid-bosses of the game. And yeah, whenever you, if you're not too high-leveled like I was first time going through, you're probably going to have a lot of trouble just getting that one item, to be perfectly honest. I just can't, I just think the game gets unnecessarily hard if you put many monsters near an item that you absolutely need to get. I blame the fallen arm thing, by the way, where you need to get a certain character some water or something. When you go to some sort of beach where all these Mechon are just hanging out, and you have to beat them all, basically. And that's not all. You also have a unique monster to deal with, which, by the way, unique monsters have some of the best names in the game. When it's not the Mechon in late game. There's one, I'm not joking, called Immovable Gonzalez. There's also one called Experienced Tristan. Yeah, Experienced Tristan. There's also one, I think it's called Mysterious Barnaby. Mysterious Barnaby. That thing is just great. Yeah, but unique monsters are basically the tougher versions of the regular enemies you find in the game, and just getting an item, just trying to get an item when fighting off some horde of enemies for it, I just don't really think that was a good design choice. I don't think so. Yeah, at least I don't think. Actually, it's not. Yeah, it's not. Well, I can't really blame myself. I mean, I was kind of sort of low-leveled where I was. Plus, that fight in particular was kind of hard. But, I'm trying to think, like, what other things that I could, like, probably talk about that I don't necessarily, like, mind about or like about this game. There was one other thing, but I can't think of it. Like, it's really weird. Like, I know there was one other thing. Nah, I can't think of it. Oh yeah, like certain fights can get really awkward. Like certain boss fights can get pretty awkward as well. Like, there's a boss fight in Magna Forest in order to get to Earth Sea, and basically, it's probably your second time fighting that kind of enemy, basically, and it could be really awkward for you for your first time playing through. But I would suggest, like, getting Shulk as the player character, then Melia, then some other character. And that also stays true for, like, the High Entia Tomb boss fight between that creature thing and a human, who is a person of Bionis, by the way. The Monado can't cut people of the Bionis, or at least the Monado 1 can't. And that could potentially make that fight really awkward, and probably, like, the most annoying thing, because you have that human going, ah! In a muffled thing. It's just, I couldn't get behind that fight. Also, there's a boss fight near the end of the game that I can't stand. Like, it took me like a million tries to do. Because you're fighting this one guy, and he summons and the dude summons all these, nebulas, I think they are. And not only that, but you're in an area that's surrounded by ether, green ether, which apparently hurts people of Bionis. And yeah, you have to fight off all of those things and the big boss man, and not fall into the thing at the same time. Oh my god, that fight was annoying. And it's the worst thing. Yeah. It's probably like the worst thing. It's like probably like some of the worst aspects of this game. But you know what? I can definitely outweigh the criticisms with, like, my huge amount of praise for just, you know, the plot pacing of the game, the characters, the overall just massive world and unique setting. How the gameplay is just super tight and super convenient and extremely, extremely well designed. And just the soundtrack being as good as it is. Like, I've added so many, like, Xenoblade tracks to my fave music playlist too, that I think it even, like, overpowers, like, the Kid Icarus Uprising, like, soundtrack I have on it. Just Nintendo and Monolith Soft really made, like, a pure gem for the Wii. I feel like they really did do their, like, best effort at that, like, pushing the Wii to its absolute limit. Like, yeah, not even the likes of Super Smash Bros. Brawl can't top this game. It's just that good. And with all this praise being all great, like, as the game continually goes on, like, I would call this game an experience game. Like, the experience. Like, after you complete the game, it just washes over you. Like, you're never gonna have an experience like this ever again. Like, seeing the massive world, experiencing the plot, like, going through all those boss fights, and some of them just the more epic moments of the game. Like, the truly sad part is that you'll never have an experience like that ever again. Yeah, that's what I call an experience game. As you go more and more through the game, like, yeah, this game does take a while to complete, like 70 or 80 hours if you're going for as minimal grinding and side questing as possible. Make it double if you decide to go for everything in the game. But, you know, you got to chug through it. Truly dedicated players will just see how amazing this game gets as you go along with it. And yeah, you just got to press on and on and on and on. Fiora 1987. But with all this being said, and all this being praised and outweighing the criticisms I have with the game, like, this game is not perfect by all means. I will say that. But I am going to say right here and now, and I know I cannot take this back, this is, alongside with Majora's Mask, the best game I have ever played. No holds barred. Nothing will be able to top me and my love for Xenoblade. I went into this game like thinking, it'll be a great game. It's long, but I might as well chug through it. But then it's just, oh my god, this game just gets more and more great as it just builds up and builds and builds. And that's me collectively just sighing relief of thoughts, yeah. But I also have one more thing to talk about. My eventual LP of this game. Now, I know it's not going to be for a long time. I know it's not going to be for a very long time. Like, I'm planning on doing it next year. But I do need, like, one more playthrough of the game if I'm going to start planning. If I'm going to start, like, planning for the LP, I am going to need one more playthrough of this game in order to start planning for it. Because even though I will say right off the bat, like, I'm not going to 100% this game, there's no way in hell I will go through every inch of this game like a certain LPer who is now healthy again and is ready to go back to Xenoblade. I'll do my very best to show off as much of this game as I possibly can. Also, you better get ready for the popcorn because each part I plan is going to be very long. But of course, I'll add more details later on. Like next year. Oh my god, I've been talking for more than 48 minutes on this game. I'll stop now. See you guys on the next edition of Platinum Impressions. See you later.